Hey, what's up everybody? In this video tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to create the candy corn that we're going to be using as the tail feathers for our Thanksgiving turkey. So what we're going to be doing next is coming down, we're going to be picking on the plus sign. I'm going to be creating a new part. I'm going to right click on this part and do a rename, and I'm just going to be calling it candy corn. Okay, so once that's done, I can now go ahead and use sketch, pick on the front plane, and now look at the front plane in the view cube. All right, so a couple things we have to know is we're going to be drawing a line starting from the origin, and this is going to be coming up here to the top, and that's going to go up a distance of 0.985. Okay, just like so. So that's going to be the total height of our candy corn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle on this line. Okay, just draw it out like so. And the thing is that our dimension, our diameter on that circle needs to be a diameter of 0.2. So once I have applied the 0.2, now what I can do is dimension center point, okay, to the end point. And that needs to be a distance of 0.1, which is simply just the radius of it. So it's actually going to be bringing that circle, okay, all the way down to the end. Just for safe measures, I'm going to go ahead and also do a vertical constraint between that center point, okay, and this end point, just to make sure that is locked in. Okay, and then now what I can do is I can come up here underneath circle. I can find ellipse. I'm going to start my ellipse from the top of this. I'm going to go ahead and just send this straight over, okay, just like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now dimension, okay, from this endpoint here to the endpoint of our ellipse. Actually, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to draw a line. We'll wait for the dimension here in just a second. Let's draw a line going from here down to here. I'm going to exaggerate it, which means I'm going to send it further than the actual objects are, or the shapes are. And now what I'm going to do is come up here and find my tangent constraint, pick this line and pick this circle, and then pick this line and pick this circle. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw another line on this side, exaggerate these, and go a tangent again between this line and this ellipse, this line and this circle. And now I can go ahead and do a trim to trim these off. Okay, so now that that is done, okay, what I can do now is dimension. So I'm going to dimension from center point, okay, to this end point, all right, and that needs to be a distance of 0.265. The other dimension I'm going to need is going to be, let's see if I can get it here. The dimension I'm going to need is for this ellipse. If you just actually pick on the ellipse and pull it over, our total height. So this is actually going to be our minor axis distance. It's going to be a distance of 0.1. Okay, so that's sort of giving me the shape I'm looking for. So now I go ahead and green check this. I'm going to go ahead and send this over into this view. And what I'm going to do is an extrude of all these profiles. I know that this is not a great way to extrude with so many different profiles, but I don't care. And I'm just going to go ahead and give that a distance of 0.12. Looks like it missed it. 0.12. And I'm going to green check it. All right, so it looks flat. And there's a reason why we kept it flat on this. It's just going to make it a little bit easier to assemble it when we put the tail feathers onto the back side of the cookie. Okay, now that we have that done, all right, now we need to go and actually create this in 3 sort of different sections so we can apply different colors to it. So what I'm going to do is come up here, go to work plane. I'm going to pick on my existing top plane, and now we can see it's going to be doing an offset. All right, there's really no right or wrong, dimension on this. Just take a look at the candy corn that's in front of you and start to determine, where that white portion sort of ends at on the bottom of the actual candy corn. And I'm just doing that by just picking on this arrow. Okay, so I'm pulling that up into the location I want it. I'm going to go ahead and just green check it. And then what I'm going to do now is look at this in an isometric view. I'm going to come up here and find the slice feature or the split feature. I'm going to pick on split. I'm going to pick on my candy corn. The entity that we're going to be splitting with is going to be this plane 1 that we can see right here. And when we do that, we can see that that line is now there, which means it has taken this object and basically split that into 2 different parts. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to come to this plane. or a work plane, and I'm going to be picking on the plane 1 that I used earlier. And we can now look at this from the front view. And now I can just take that arrow and drag that down into a location where I sort of need that to be. And I'm going to say it's just going to be that right there. So that's going to be the top yellow portion of my candy corn. Maybe I'll drag it down just a little bit. Okay, so I can green check that. Look at this in the isometric view. And now I can come up here once again and use split. I'm going to grab my candy corn, okay, pick the red box, and then just come here to that last work plane that we were using, and we'll go ahead and perform the split. So in order to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and just start shutting these work planes down, even the planes that I created and offset earlier, shut those down. And now I can go ahead and start adding the colors that I want. So coming here to the appearance panel, okay, I can see that this is my part 1. We can see at the bottom portion that was just highlighted, so I can double click on that. Bottom portion on a candy corn is going to be white, so I'm going to green check that. Okay, part 2 is going to be the top. We can see that that is highlighted. I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to be making that a yellow color, green check it. And then part 3 is obviously going to be our center. I'm going to double click on that, come up and find orange and green check that. I can now retract the appearance panel. All right, and that candy corn is basically almost done. The only thing we have to do now is actually add a fillet. So the fillets that we're going to be adding to this are going to be 0.05. So if I come up here and pick on fillet, this isn't going to be perfect, but you know, hey, we're going to make it work. So I'm going to say it's going to be this edge and this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge, this one, and we'll flip it over to the back. I think I have them all, but the distance on this needs to be 0.05. And I'm going to go ahead and just green check that. Okay. Like I said, not perfect, but we're going to roll with it. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with this. Let's do a fillet now on all 4 of these edges. And we're going to apply the same radius, which is 0.05. I'm going to go ahead and just green check that. And the last thing I need to do is come up here, pick on fillet again, and we're going to be applying it to all these edges down here on the bottom. And making sure that radius is 0.05. Okay, I believe we have that. And there you go. That is what we're going to call a candy corn to use for the tail feathers, okay, on our turkey cookie.